Hi, I'm Missy Wryn. I'm a holistic natural horsemanship trainer. What holistic natural horsemanship is a method of training the whole horse. My specialty has been problem and dangerous horses, and most of the horses that I have received in my training program who were problems and had serious behavior issues typically were in pain, whether it was physical pain or emotional pain. I found that those pain issues needed to be addressed. So I developed a program, Holistic Natural Horsemanship, to address and work with the whole horse. My motto is, problems are not always training issues, and I want to train the whole horse for a safer ride. Just incorporate my 5 fundamentals, and that first one is lunging. So let's get started. Now I'm going to ask Tilly to head off to the left, and we've already done our 3 foundational requirements. She's really well set in that now. She's had a lot of time at that, doing a great job, and look at how well she's doing. Good girl. And you see, I don't even have to use my stick anymore. And I'm going to ask for a change of direction. Good girl. Now you don't have to do the 5 fundamentals in any particular order. I do suggest you start with holistic lunging first. I mean, that's just a good place to start to get that cinch in place. Good girl. And then I'm going to do a 1 rein stop, and I'm going to throw the rope over since we've been doing a lot of desensitizing anyways over these weeks. Good job. And she's licking and chewing. What a good girl. Now I'm going to check that cinch. Come here, sweet girl. I need your nose this way, and I like to tip that nose just a tiny bit, so when I cinch, in case she was to get spooked or bugged, I could pull that nose close to me and disengage those hindquarters. Good girl. Pull that up a little bit. There. Now that I've cinched that up, I'm going to lunge her again. In case she has any pinched skin, I want her to be comfortable. No, you need to get back. Oh, she's just ready to go, but I want you to back up. Back up. Back up. Very good. And she's just kind of reading my mind. I'm going, yeah, let's go to the right. Good girl. You notice how respectful she is. She's out of my space. She's really come a long way in these last few weeks. And I use the end of my lead rope to add pressure and energy to keep her going. And I step in front of that drive line and I ask, and I need her to change direction. Good girl, and get out of my space. Get out of my space. Good girl. Very good. Now I run my horses through these 5 fundamentals every time I go for a ride. Every time. That way that horse knows that I'm the same yesterday, I'm the same today, and I'm consistent. And that consistency leads to confidence and trust in me as this horse's herd leader. Oh, good girl. You're being all sniffly. You're sniffing around. Oh, and there's leaves in here. She's wanting to eat. So let's check to see how that saddle is on you. I think that looks pretty good. Would you please keep your head up? Good job. Good girl. So I'm going to do some desensitizing. Remember, that's part of the 5 fundamentals. And what I'm going to do, in addition to the desensitizing that you've seen me do before with her, is I'm going to check the saddle as well, do some desensitizing with that saddle. So I check behind those legs, in front of those legs, and now I'm going to make some noise on this saddle. Well, you want to make sure that this isn't a problem for your horse. When you're out there on the trail and a branch hits your saddle, it makes a noise, you want to make sure that your horse can handle that. Another thing I like to do, desensitizing with the saddle, is I'll tip that nose a little bit. Can I get you to back up, please? Back up. Thank you. I'm going to tip that nose a little bit, and I'm going to take this stirrup, and I'm going to see if she's all right with that. Kind of baby step her through it. And then I'll slap a little harder. Good girl. Make sure that it's not a problem. You'd be surprised how many horses I've had in my care that have just dropped to the ground in fear from the noise or the feel of that. And I sure want to make, I want to make sure that that horse is comfortable with my legs being on them and flapping with those fenders. Good girl. I'm just going to rub her all over, make sure she's all right. What a good girl. Very nice. And what I do on one side, I'm going to do on the other. Let's turn around. Good girl. And hope. And back. 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 Very nice. Very good. I'm going to check to see if everything's okay with this. Yes. Very good. Very good. And I'm going to tip that nose a little bit. Make sure sure that stirrup's not bothering her. Very good. Very good. Good job. I'm going to lunge her one more time, and then I'm going to go ahead and mount, and I will show you the other fundamentals under saddle. Good girl. So it's important to have that one rein stop good on the ground, because that's your emergency handbrake under the saddle. Good job. Very nice. And 1 and 2 and 3. Let's get going. Out of my space. Good girl. She gets into my space. You see that I just kind of push her out with my arms. Energy coming off my hand. Good job. Very nice. And a one rein stop. Very good girl. And nose to girth. Excellent. The other thing I want to make sure is that she can disengage those hindquarters. Remember, we yield those hindquarters and those forequarters. And you'll see how that translates under saddle. But I want to make sure I've got that on the ground as well before I mount. So I'm going to tip that nose, and I'm going to put my thumb where my heel would go when my foot is in the stirrup. You want to make sure when you're asking your horse to disengage their hindquarters that you're not doing it up here or somewhere where your foot isn't going to be. Remember, what you do on the ground has got to translate in the saddle. So my thumb is going to go where my heel would be. I'm going to tip that nose, and I'm going to, oh, good girl, and I just put my thumb, I just touched her with that, and that's really where I want to be. Can I have that nose? Very good. I really want to be just the slightest touch with my horse. I don't want to use a lot of pressure to move my horse around. And when you do all the ground techniques, it makes the riding so much easier and safer. Good girl. I'm going to make sure that when I pull that nose and I ask for that disengagement, very nice, very nice. Good girl. And let me just straighten this out. There. I want her to be comfortable. Very good. Very good. Very good girl. Make sure there's enough space in between. Put my fingers in that girth. Excellent. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm an advocate of helmets. I always wear a helmet with horses in training. Oh, no chewing on tack, but thank you for picking that up for me. Okay, I'm going to convert my lead rope to reins, and you can request a free copy of the brochure on my website that gives you instructions and pictures on how to do this conversion. Go to my website, www.holistichorsemanship.com, and that's holistic with a W. Whenever I convert from lead rope to reins, I then flex the horse because it is a different feeling from lead rope to reins. I'm going to ask her to step over here so you can see how I like to flex. So I'm going to grab the rope just as I would with a one rein stop, about 18 inches from elbow to hand, down the rein, and I'm going to put my hand up on the saddle area just as I did. Good girl. Good girl. Just as I did when I did a one rein stop on the ground. I'm going to ask again, and then I'm going to, good girl. I'm going to have her disengage. Good job. And I'm just going to rub it. No, you don't chew on the tack. And good girl. She had to understand there's no nibbling on the tack, so I had to give her a little tap. Reinforce that she isn't to do that because she likes to nibble. You know, she's just new at the saddle, so she loves to try to nibble on my toes and nibble on the stirrups, and she has to find out that that's inappropriate. So I'm going to flex. I'm going to ask to disengage. No, I need you to disengage. Good girl. Very good. She's always fiddling around with ropes. Yes, always wanting to nibble stuff. Now that I'm mounted, I want to remind her of the safe and loving place we go when we're in trouble. Remember, I taught her on the ground that nose to girth is the safe and loving place. So I'm going to flex that nose, and I'm going to reach down and love her up. No, safe and loving place. And if she's going to nibble on my boot, she's going to end up getting a mouthful of my boot. Good girl. And she's nice and soft. Good, and I release. Good girl. And I'm going to ask her on this side. What I do on one side, I'm going to do on the other. And see, she's just learning her balance. I'm going to reach down and love her up. This is the safe and loving place we go. See how this translates now under saddle? Good girl.